Good morning, family. How's it coming together today? I wasn't ready. Caught me taking my first sip of coffee, as well as one of these chocolate stamped biscuits. All right. How is everybody doing? The sun is sunning today, leaning on me. Good to see you. Hey, Mike. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while, man. We are live. What are we live on? We are live on Facebook. Facebook, TikTok, and what is that? YouTube. Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube today. Couple things going on. Number one, for those of you guys doing the tryout relocations where you get the year of free rent included in the relocation, as well as your immigration paperwork and all that stuff done, and our concierge service to introduce you to the movers and shakers in the area and get your banking and all of that stuff set up for you. We have one more standard, right? So one more two-bedroom, fully furnished apartment that's across the road from the beach on Beach Road, right? From the road to the beach is like 2 acres, not even, maybe an acre, right? From the road to the beach, somewhere between an acre and 2 acres, depending on what side of the road you're on. And so you can walk across the street, get to the beach, fine. Our luxury villa has also come back, right? So that's open now because the person who used to be in it, their house is done. So they moved out and they're into their house. The luxury villa is way more expensive. However, you literally step out of your backyard and you're at the beach, right? So it's beachfront. So you're paying beachfront prices for that one, but that one is available again. So I'm sure we'll put something up soon as far as that being available to the people them. And you guys can jump in that as long as supplies last. We only have so many, houses, right? So, yeah, no, some people do. Like the last person who was staying in the two-bedroom was just staying to like feel it out. Like they were just doing like a year abroad type of thing. And so they have the ability to come back anytime they want over the next 3 years, but they weren't like building with us. Now, the luxury folks are typically always building with us, right? Because they just, quite frankly, they have their shit together a little better, right? So they always know, like, all right, we're going to live at the beach in this luxury villa. It's a luxury three-bedroom villa. It's literally on the beach, right? And it's in a resort. So you have, there's a private restaurant, there's housekeeping, private security, like all of that, right? And so those folks are typically building a house while they wait. And then, so your luxury folks, they typically got their mind wrapped around it a little bit better. So yeah, the luxury villa folks, we've never had anyone stay there who wasn't building a house. But the standard apartments, some people just come and do like a year abroad type of thing, almost like you would like with a semester abroad. Like they just come, almost like digital nomads. Like they come to check it out. You know, you have a lot of coders that have come that have, they're doing work coding while they're there. What else? We've had startup founders, right, who need to reduce their bills while they're running this startup, so they can pump everything into the startup. And then it's typically startup founders that are either bootstrapping to get traction before they go to VC, and then they go pitch themselves, or it's the technical founder in a startup who is not pitching VCs, right? So typically your technical founder, who's like your coder or your back end person, they're not typically talking to VCs. Typically what they're doing is they're doing all the work and doing all the coding. And then you got like a savvy kind of CEO guy who knows how to talk and blah, 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 blah. That's the one who's like pitching the VCs. So like the CEO and the CFO are pitching the VCs, and then your CTO is like an introvert that doesn't even want to talk to the VCs, right? So that's typically the way that goes. And then that person is typically really trying to focus on building out the technology and building out the back end of the startup or whatever. And so they end up reducing their living expenses, but try not to reduce their actual quality of living. And that's where stuff like this comes in. So we'll get a lot of those that'll come in, and they'll do a year, at the apartments, and it'll be cheaper than whatever San Francisco costs or whatever, New York costs or whatever. And they'll be able to focus in on their work. So a bunch of different use cases, I suppose. Yeah, there's one. There'll be another one in about a month because that house will be done being built by then. So I guess I can say two, as long as you're not ready to jump on a plane tomorrow. But there's one for anyone who's a fast mover, that's available now, and then the luxury one is available. That'll actually be available in like a couple days. I wish so too. The luxury ones are even, more scarce than the regular ones. They're, they ain't making no more new land, and beachfront is even less. So this one it's literally on the beach. Yeah. Well, so there's a resort, right? And then the resort has like a hotel. And that hotel is back near like the road. It's still beachfront, like it's still the plot of land is the beach plot of land, but closer to the road is where the actual hotel is. So you check in and you go upstairs and like you have like a regular hotel room. In front of the hotel on the beach side, there were villas that the hotel essentially sold almost as like a fundraiser to build the hotel. Very smart, actually. So there are like 20 or 30 houses in between the hotel and the beachfront, but the hotel pool is just past the houses, and the hotel restaurant is just past the houses. So the security for the hotel encapsulates the houses. So the houses get full security. They get use of the cleaning staff, so room service and all that. They can call the front desk, even though it's a house. They're in their own like 3-bedroom villa. It's not attached to the hotel at all, right? But they can call and all that. So there's a huge amount of amenities in the luxury one, and that's what kind of sets it apart. It's like obvious luxury, you know what I mean? Like it's not even, you don't even have to describe why it's luxury beyond that, right? Once you hear that, you're like, oh, all right. You live on a resort, like it's obviously luxury. Restaurant's great. I guess that's a good question. I'm a foodie, so that's a question I would ask. I'm actually going to the restaurant today, so while I'm there, maybe I'll go live and just like show it. I'm not going for another like 2 hours. I got to be there around 10. Right now it's about 8. The sun is leaning on me. Yeah, no, it don't last long. We don't got to advertise it too toughly. It's a private villa at a resort on a beach. It don't last too long. Hey, hey, hey. Did you get your tea? She made you tea and chocolate biscuits. You're going? All right. You taking all the sexy with you? Okay. All right. We've been married almost 8 years. She going to run her business. She has her own company. No, she didn't have a company when we met, but I helped her. She wanted to have one, so we got her into the industry that she wanted to be into. She was in management when we met. She managed. She actually managed the number one restaurant on the coast. So she had what it took. She just didn't know. She didn't know the fine points of business ownership. That's all. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So that's that for. We've been talking for 10 minutes under this hot ass sun um, about the available apartments for those folks that want to relocate or just do a year abroad. So those are available. Head over to the website. You'll see the standard offer. So the standard offer is for the 2 bedroom that's across the street from the beach, what we call Beach 2. The unit that's on Beach 1 is more than double that price. So if you want that one, it's a 3 bedroom, like standalone house. It's not an apartment. It's a villa, a beach villa. And that one is you step out of your front door and your toes go into the sand, right? So super luxury. It's a luxury buy, period. So if you're not a luxury purchaser, don't worry about that one. Just get the apartment. It's all right. Take you an extra 5 minutes to get to the beach. But if you're a luxury person and you're into luxury, then there you have it. All right, so done with that. Business wise, well, I suppose that's business too. But we have our Jesus, the sun is like baking my brain or something. We have our commitment to doing 100 new generational wealth families. Are we still at 16? I feel like we onboarded somebody. We're at 18. We're at 18. So we have 18 out of the 100 down. We're approaching 20, I suppose. And it's become apparent that family constitutions are necessary, right? So I think we're going to do a family constitution workshop, right? A lot of folks are too focused on the money, right? Which means that they haven't been following me all that often. It means that they saw like live me talking about generational wealth and then they onboarded with us, which is great, but it also means that they don't understand what it takes to actually have real generational wealth that actually lasts the test of time, right? Which the money is the smallest part of that, as I always say. So it's become apparent, like out of the 18 that we're dealing with, like 90% of them need a family constitution, right? They got the money is fine, they're ready to invest the money in the but they're going to be part of the 70%, right? The 70% statistic that shows that 70% of all new generational wealth families fall apart in generation 2. It's not because of the money, right? The money got them to generation 2. They got the money. It's because they don't have the education and they don't have the foundation. The foundation is the family constitution. The education is at its basic level financial literacy, but at its more advanced levels, it's the habitus of dynasty. Okay, so those things all need to be taught. Luckily, the education can be incorporated into the family constitution. And so we're going to open a family constitution workshop. I know if you guys have been looking for it, you see that it can't be booked. Like it's not even an option right now, and that's because it's not open. When it's not open, you can't book it. We are going to open one. I think we're going to do a family constitution workshop weekend. And so it'll be 3 days, couple hours a day with some homework that has to happen, and possibly family conversations depending on how you're structuring your family constitution. And then at the end of it, you should have your family constitution fully structured and ready to rock, which can then lead you into family trust, right? So your family constitution can definitely inform your family trust fund, or you can just utilize that family constitution to make your family better, quite frankly, right? What does better mean? Better means they communicate better. Better means they solve problems better, right? Because there's rules in place that allows them to solve problems and allows them to communicate. Interestingly enough, one of our clients pointed out that the Cosby Show talked about family constitutions, which like floored me because I'm like, I used to watch the Cosby Show, I don't remember that. And they episode where one of the kids did something funky, and the family constitution indicated that like they now need to have family court, and that's what they did. Like I think, you know, Dr. Huxtable was the judge or whatever, and the different kids stood as attorneys. The prosecution and the defense. And not that obviously that was them taking license as a television show. However, it's very similar to the way family constitutions do deal with issues, right? They definitely have a conflict resolution article, if not article, at least a clause that details exactly how the family deals with conflict, and typically details what the remedies and punishments for that conflict are. Right. And so it allows for very, very significant problems to be dealt with, problems that would have otherwise ripped the family apart. Right. Because problems are going to happen, like you're human beings, you're whatever. But looking back on them, right, like hindsight's always 2020. Like you laugh about these crazy emotional, situations that you were in, 5, 6 years ago. Now you look back on it, you start laughing like, man, did I really let that thing, get to me like that? And it's the same thing with families, except if the family is fractured because of it, now you've destroyed your generational wealth over nothing, like over something you could have looked back at, 5 years later and laughed about. Now there's lines drawn in the sand, green flags and red flags, and so on and so forth. And you're screwed. Your grandchildren are screwed. Your children are screwed because you couldn't communicate, right? It's the stupidest thing in the world, if you can get around it, which obviously you can. You design a family constitution. Like from here on out, if you're listening to me talk, you don't have an excuse anymore. You might not have known what a family constitution was 5 minutes ago, but now you do. So if your family fractures for good over some dumbass argument, it's your fault, because you now had the knowledge and the power to put something in place that would keep that from happening. And if you haven't acted on it, that's on you. Right. And so that is the number one thing that clients come back to us on, saying, thank you so much for not just the family constitution, but absolutely the conflict resolution section of the family constitution, because it saved the family from extreme things to like stupid little things, right, that threaten to break the family apart. Because typically it's not the event. Typically it's clashing personalities, and the event is the excuse to now have a jump off, and people pile on to whoever they don't like because of the personality, this, that, and the third. So that's typically what it is. Now, we have seen situations, like our clients will call us and tell us what's going on. So we've seen extreme situations, right? Like we've seen, the son's wife slept with the dad. That's pretty extreme, you know what I mean? And that has to be dealt with. But in situations like that, the family constitution typically has really strict punishments, up to and including expellation from the family, right? So the definition of family changes once you define it, right? Blood might be one component, but that's not all the components. And just because someone's born into a family doesn't mean you can't kick them out, right? You don't need to keep the dirty uncle or the dirty auntie that ain't none of the little kids allowed to be around, and ain't nobody saying nothing. You don't need to keep them in the family. Kick them the fuck out, right? Like we all, you know who I'm talking about. Kick them out, right? But that has to be codified so that the entire family is on board and stands behind, that decision. So family constitutions take care of bullshit way before they happen. And when there's no significant bullshit happening in the family doesn't break up, right? That's the most common language I can put it in. All right. So make sure you have that together. and then you move forward from there. We're going to go ahead and do a workshop. It's probably going to be within this next month here, right? We just started a new month, so it'll be maybe the second to last weekend of this month. It'll probably be 2 hours a day. We'll try to make it so that it's a decent time for East Coasters and U.S. folks. Try to make sure it's a half decent time for the Brits, and the Caribbeans are typically East Coast time frame as well. So we're gonna figure out some decent time to have it at. It'll probably be late in the evening for you guys though, maybe 8 o'clock, something like that. So we'll work that out, and then we will go ahead and turn it on in our booking engine. So when you guys go into our booking engine, you'll see it as an option. So just keep your eyes open. By the end of this week, it's a new week. By the end of the week, you should start seeing stuff about that. We always cap how many people are going to be in our workshops so that it's not chaotic, right? So if you want us to walk you through family constitution, if you want access to our over a decade of experience about what goes wrong in the families and what should be in the family constitution, as far as this problem is going to happen, that problem is going to happen, somebody's going to be dating one of the boys in the family and decide that one of the other boys is more her style, and it's going to cause a feud in the family, and all of that stuff. So all of the things that we've seen happen multiple times over and over and over again, we already, got that down. We already know what the language should sound like. We know which punishments were overboard, and the punishments ended up fracturing the family, and which punishments were in alignment with what most families expect to happen for certain grievances and all that stuff. So you can go write up a family constitution on your own and try to implement it in the family, and you will have a ton of ups and downs. It may have the opposite effect, or you can get a professional involved. It doesn't have to be me. But if you're going to go do it locally or something like that, I would recommend that you reach out to probably either a sociologist with a significant amount of experience. So not like someone who just graduated high school or just graduated college like yesterday, but a sociologist, a family psychologist. You probably want either both of those people on a team, or at least one of them on a team, and then you want your family lawyer on that team as well, so you can take that swing at it and get some professionals together, but who have no experience in family constitutions probably. If you find a family constitution expert locally, then go for it. Right? You definitely don't have to do it through us. You just need to do it and have your family benefit from it. Other than that, your family will fall apart over and over and over again, right? That's the cycle of the standard family, and that's why they can't build any generational wealth. Right? They end up fighting. In the fight, they split. There's a black sheep. The black sheep gets kicked out. The black sheep probably becomes the most successful one, but doesn't share it with the family because the family kicked the black sheep out, so on and so forth. What the Constitution does is it makes sure that all of those types of things are unbiased. So even if you hate the person that is now essentially being judged by the family, you can't utilize your hatred to kind of like set them up, right? You want to make sure that the Constitution and the conflict resolution system is set up in such a way that it's ridiculously hard for someone to put their bias in play, right? So, and the more biased they try to be, the more they expose themselves, and then they get kicked off of the panel, right? So you want to make sure it's designed that way. You want to make sure that you're dealing with somebody who has enough experience in how these things actually play out in the real world, that it's designed in such a way that if anybody's being biased, their bias is exposed immediately, right? So yeah, that is it. Get that done, whether it's through us, whether it's through somebody else. Just make sure it's a professional if it's through somebody else. You don't want to be in a situation where you do all that work and then it's all bullshit, and you did it with somebody who didn't know what they were talking about, or you did it with freaking chat GPT or some dumb nonsense like that and actually mess your family up worse, right? This is not something that, you leave to non-professionals. So just make sure that when you do it right, and then that will carry your family for generations. Okay. All right. So that is it. I don't think I had anything else that I wanted to talk to you guys about. You guys got any questions for me? Did I miss any questions? Let me take a look here. Okay, I don't think I missed any questions. Guys, got any questions for me? Yeah, it's short today. I told you, got a bunch of work to do today. I got to go to turn over a house to a client today. Actually, not even a house. It's a Airbnb duplex that we got a investor permit for a client for. They're going to be operating their business, so we're turning that over to them today. Got to go to the luxury beach villa and do some things out there. So you'll see some video from that location later on. I got to onboard 2 new Class K permit prospects today, and we just had one of our Class K permits fly in and land. So I have to introduce her to her personal banker, and all kinds of great, crazy stuff today. So today is a busy day. It's a busy Monday, so I'm not going to be on here for a bunch of hours. So yes, quick and to the point. Just wanted to get those things out there to you guys, and that is it. Looks like there are no questions. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Excellent. All right, Freedom Family, I will talk to you later. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you tomorrow.